Hey everybody, it's Greg Harrelson here with Century 21, the Harrelson Group, and we are coming back at you with another episode of Myrtle Beach Real Estate TV. And of course, my co-host is with me again, Abe Safa. Hey Abe.
Hey Greg, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. Well, we're going to talk about the housing market as usual, and right now, as you can see, our title today is the housing market in Myrtle Beach is picking up. So we are definitely seeing some shifts in the activity, and we also, I would say, I think we started filling it, and then when we started filling it, we then said, okay, well, let's go see if we can validate this with data, and I think we've got some good reports or good data to share with the audience today.
Yeah, absolutely. We started talking about it a couple of weeks ago because we see it fairly early because of all the websites that we have as a company.
Yes.
So we saw the buyers looking online on our websites. We started seeing demand increase and more buyers looking at property, and we knew when that happens that eventually, a couple of weeks down the road, it's going to turn into more pendings. So now we're
Yeah.
starting to see those pendings show up. Yeah.
It's really fun because I would say that we get to see the leading indicators where
Mhm.
a lot of the audience typically gets to see the lagging indicators. So the lagging indicator would be like, 6 months after the market has made a shift, the news will start reporting that sales are up or sales are down, like closed sales. That's a lagging indicator. What Abe just talked about is leading indicators. So usually we can see what's going on in the market before most, especially before the consumer, because we can see that internet traffic on our websites have increased. And if internet traffic increases, that usually means that we're going to get higher call volume. And higher call volume means we're going to end up talking to people and setting appointments or showing them property. And more showings means more sales or more contracts written. More contracts written means more pendings, and more pendings ends up being in the future sales. So we're actually catching it months before once we see the increase in traffic. And that's kind of what we started to see. And now all of a sudden we're starting to see more showings and more contracts written. So do you want to show them that chart and what could kind of show what that means or show them what we're seeing?
Yeah, so this is a chart of the pendings, and you can kind of see that it's kind of been getting better and better. I mean, you've got little dips in between,
Hmm.
but overall, you can see how it's trending up. Not
Yes.
typically that's normal for this time of year anyway. As we get into spring, we're going to see more pendings, but coming off these 5 or 6 months where things have really slowed down, and not just here, but in a national level as well, it's a nice sign to see that it's actually starting to trend up. So the last you see that big spike. So the last couple of weeks is when we really started seeing this starting to happen. And last week, of course, was busy. I know you've put quite a few properties on the contract. So
Yeah.
have I. As a company, we're getting a lot more offers on the contract now.
Yeah, no question about it. And so, even without seasonality, coming into play, what's been going on is like a lot of property owners have been saying, gosh, I think I missed the market. Or, like in the last month, they're like, gosh, things are just not moving. Things are sitting a little bit longer now. I think I missed the market. That's what they were saying. So we don't even have to talk about seasonality because just within the last 3 weeks to 4 or 5 weeks, this is what sellers and property owners have been complaining about. And so right now, here's what we know for sure is that in the last couple of weeks, the number of pendings are up. The number of buyers writing contracts are up. The speed to sell the property, we're back. We're not maybe exactly where we were before, but now there's a listing goes on the market and it's getting an offer pretty quick again. So those things are happening right now. We don't have to wait another 2 to 3 months to see what's happening. We just need to tell you it's happening right this second. So what are some additional data points though that you have?
Yeah, the interesting thing, Greg, is pendings are going up,
Yes.
um, but we're not seeing inventory go up at the same level. So what's happening is a lot of the
Yes.
inventory that's out there is being absorbed right now. So when you look at the one thing we look at all the time is the pending rate. Okay, out of all the properties on the market right now, how many of them are actually on the contract, and that tells us how much demand there is, how much of the inventory is being absorbed. So right now, when you look at single family homes resales, that pending rate is up to 32.6%. So
Yeah.
basically what that means, almost 1/3 of every single home that's on the market right now is under contract.
Yeah.
Now that number hasn't been at that level in 2.5 months.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely, when I saw that this morning, I mean, I've just kind of seen it going up little by little, but when I saw it this morning, I was really pleased to see that. So 32.6% of all single family homes are on the market under contract right now. When you look at condos, that number's up to 37.2%. And
Yeah.
that's the highest number in 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
So that stuff, just a little bit of drop in interest rates has really brought some buyers back into the market, and they're absorbing the inventory out there.
Yeah. Yeah. And it goes back to what I was saying a moment ago. It's been the last couple of months where the consumer, the sellers or property owners have been worried that they missed their market. And I understand, we can kind of understand now why they were asking those questions, because the market did dip in the number of sales or the number of properties that were under contract. But now we've kind of erased 2 to 2.5 months of that, and we're back up to levels that when we were at these levels before, there were plenty of sellers that were really happy with where that market was, and they were happy that they were selling when that's where the market was. So for those of you that are on the fence, just know this is good news. I had somebody today, I was just talking to him earlier, Abe, and a gentleman in a nice residential community, and I says, I'm just kind of curious, what kind of price are you hoping to get for your property? I just wondered what he was trying to accomplish, his goals. And he goes, well, I don't know. I mean, I know the market's down, and I'm like, man, I'm so glad that I'm the real estate agent that is working with this seller, because the reality is he's basing that on things like the national news,
Mm-hmm.
what he's heard somebody say. But I had already done the research prior to me calling him. And the reality is his market's not down a bit. Matter of fact, I probably will get him $25,000 more than where he thought the market was. So we all have feelings and we all have opinions, when we're, in the moment, we're thinking about selling. Well, gosh, I wish I wouldn't have missed it. You may not have missed it. That's national news conversation. There's national news, there's regional news, and there's what matters, which is the local data. That's what really matters. So the pending rate is up. And did you look to see, and I don't think the numbers would show up yet, but days on the market, it's too early to actually see that change probably. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I'd like to another week or so. Once we hit the 1st of February, we'll be
Okay.
able to see it up. But I bet they're up.
Okay. Up as in taking longer, or
Increase, yeah, taking a little bit longer.
okay, got it.
Now this past week or so, it might have flattened out and maybe gone down a little bit, but overall, the days on the market has been increasing.
Yes. Yeah. And are we talking, the one thing that we've got to make sure that the audience understands is year over year data versus like real time data,
Mm-hmm.
right? So for January, February, and March, and maybe April, I don't know exactly what date it'll be, but the year over year numbers are probably going to look terrible for the first 3 months of this calendar year, because we would be comparing January to the previous January, which was before interest rates dropped. So for all of you that look at data, when you see the news, it'll say in February or January, year over year numbers, 30% decrease in sales. You're going to see the national news say that. And that would be correct. But if you look at like January compared to the last 3 months, it may also be correct that sales are increasing. So to me, you got to look at both. You look over year, but the next 3 months are still going to be bad because we're comparing it to a different market. But look at the chart that like Abe and I just shared. That's how you know, like that chart says that we're trending up right now. But year over year would say we're trending down. So just want to kind of let the audience know.
Yeah,
that.
and I think it's important for the consumer to kind of, decide what numbers you're looking at. I mean, there's a lot of different data that you could throw out there. Yes, if you look at overall closed number of transactions, yeah, we're down. I mean, the entire country's down, and it's down significant when you look in November, December. Even January, it's probably going to be down significantly compared to last year's January.
Oh,
Right.
100%.
But when you look at January through April of last year, it was bananas. I mean, everything was going crazy.
Well,
Right.
here's the thing I wanted to say. When we
Yeah.
look at January, interest rates were 3%.
Yeah.
So like in my opinion, we shouldn't even compare it. It's a useless number. That's a clickbait number that the news is they're gonna wear that number out. But that doesn't tell us the trend of the current market, in my
Right.
opinion.
And it also doesn't give you a true indicator of what your property, depending on what community you're in, if it's a condo, what building you're in, because that varies tremendously as well, depending on where you are. So
true.
it'd be good to have a conversation, just if you're curious to know what's going on specifically with your property. We'd love to help you with that. So back to mortgage rates.
Yeah. What's the latest on mortgage rates?
Man, last week we were so close. Like we were at 6.04, I think, at 6.02. I was like, I thought for sure I was going to break 6 towards the end of the week. And then it went back up. And then as of yesterday, it was at 6.2. Again, these are just national average 30-year mortgage across the whole country. There's lenders out there that are doing stuff below 6% right now, but the national average is 6.2% right now. But look, the key thing to look at is, Greg, I think more important than what that number is the volatility. People do not like volatility. So the last few weeks, it's kind of been stable. It goes up a tiny bit, down a tiny bit. We're not seeing these huge, drastic half a point drops and gains.
Yeah.
So when we start seeing more stability like that, it's bringing buyers back into the game. So
it brings certainty. It gives people certainty, right? Like stability. We don't like to have volatility. Yeah,
exactly. So just a little bit of stability in the mortgage rates have brought a good bit of buyers back into the game. If it drops below 6, I think a lot more buyers are going to come into the game. And the reason I say that is, Greg said something earlier about if you feel like you missed the boat as a seller, you really haven't. I mean, you're not going to get 26 offers in the first 5 minutes like you were last year, but we're still getting great prices for sellers. So you really haven't missed the boat. And buyers out there, do not wait till interest rates drop to 4 or 5%. Do not wait, because just look in the last 2 weeks. Okay, how much of the inventory got absorbed, right? Well, but we 2.5 months got erased. Okay, as far as where we are with the pending rate, it was just that little drop in mortgage rate. So if you're waiting for it to get to 5%, there's not going to be any inventory left, and you're going to be back to where you were in the past, where you couldn't find anything, and when you did, you had to throw everything you had at it to try to get it. Yeah. So you're a lot better off buying right now. Okay. Work something out with the seller where they give you some seller allowance to drop down your interest rates for a year or two, and then just refinance. But at least if you find a property out there that you like right now, jump on it now. Do not wait. Don't let the mortgages be the decision maker on whether you buy a property or not right now.
Yeah. Abe, as I listen to you, I can imagine that some people would listen to what you just said and said, yeah, of course, Abe's going to say that. He wants to make a commission. But let me go a little bit further, because what you're recommending is so spot on that this is not about a sales pitch. This is like spot on. If we were to talk to a financial advisor and explain to them why we believe this, I believe your financial advisor would agree. I really do. I think there's logic to it. And that is, like, there are owners out there that want to sell, but they're saying, I'm going to wait until interest comes back down to 4, and then I'll sell my property because I don't want to have a high interest rate when I buy. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. Interest rates are going to come back to 4. They're probably going to sell their property for a little bit more money. Then they're going to go buy another property. There's not going to be any inventory. You're going to have to get your third choice on a property. You're going to have to pay well over full price. Yes, you save 1% on interest rate, but you paid $40,000 more for the property. The key is if you're selling, like if you're doing any part of buying, if you're selling and buying or just buying, you want to make your move now. Because if the interest rates come down, which is why some people are on the fence waiting, prices are likely to go up. And it would be more advantageous to the buyer to buy at today's interest rate or today's price and today's interest rate than tomorrow's price and tomorrow's interest rate. Because The price, once you lock into your price, you can't change it. But when you lock into your rate, you can change it. So the change, the rate can be changed. It can be refinanced, but the price you pay cannot. You don't get a do-over on the price you pay. You can get a do-over on the interest rate, but not a do-over on the price you pay. So it's very important that people really think through this.
And the most important thing is, you said it earlier, like when things get hot and you're buying your second, third, or fourth option, who wants that? I mean, I'm not saying rush out there and buy something right now.
Yeah.
I'm saying that if there's a property out there that you like, pull the trigger on it. Don't
Yes.
let anything else. If that's the property, if you really like it, that's your number one choice. Just get it done. The rest will work itself out at some point.
And reach out to Abe and I, because we know the numbers, so we can negotiate, for you. Whether, no matter who we're representing, we know how to represent on behalf of the buyer. We know how to represent on behalf of on the seller. Of course, that just depends on the relationship that we have and who we're working for at that time. So if you need help in any aspect of real estate, or just want to ask questions, feel free to reach out to, Abe and I, both with Century 21, the Harrelson Group, and you see our numbers right here. You can call us, you can text us. If you want an overview of what's going on in your community, just reach out to us. We can, no strings attached. We don't even have to have a conversation with you. Just email us or call us or text us. Say, could you send me a report on what's going on in your community? We'll create a report, send it to you. And what do we want in return, or what are we hoping for? Is, hey, maybe you'll remember us and use us whenever that time comes, if you need a professional real estate agent. All right, Abe, thank you so much. And we'll see everybody next week.
Thank you all for watching.
Bye-bye.